Okay, so once you feel like you know where you want to do field work, email me and let's agree that this should happen by the end of the day today, so that I have time before tomorrow to talk to you about it and make sure that it's a good spot. Um, and um, and all three of your ethnographic exercises will happen in the same place. So the idea is that each ethnographic project, the one that's due next week, and then the one after, and the one after, will all build up so that by the end you'll have a really good amount of data to analyze for your final project. So that's why it's really important that you choose well. So it has to be a place that's, there's a specific kind of activity performed there. It has to be a place that's interesting to you, right? So there's a kind of level of interest that makes you want to go back there, and that will keep you interested as you're writing your final paper, and that you're familiar with. Okay, so there's three parts to the data collection process. The first project will be a physical record of the place. So you know how you did the map project, map of a block project? It's the same kind of idea, but instead of mapping a block, you're mapping your site. It's up to you to figure out what the parameters of the site are. If it's a church, it might be the whole entire building, it might just be the sanctuary. If it's a, let's see, if it's the YMCA where, and you want to focus on a particular activity, it could be the whole entire building. Of course, you won't have to go into as much detail if you're doing the whole entire building. You want to give more detail in the areas that you're interested in, and not as much detail for the areas that are kind of superfluous to your spot. Or you could just focus on one particular room, the weight room, for example, and really kind of give as much detail as possible for that space. So it says in the first project you're asked to record the space of your field site in as much detail as possible. Use the experience you gained from the map project and try to include as much detail as possible. Remember that you'll be using this information in your final project, and that the next 3 weeks will be jam-packed with information, so be sure to record your data in a way that is as legible and as clear to you as possible. So here's what I want to really emphasize in this description. Your final project depends on it. So you can slack now and just kind of do a half-hearted job on the map, and that's fine. But when it comes, and you'll get, you know, a medium grade for it, but it's not only going to hurt you for the medium grade now, it's also going to hurt your ability to do well in the final project. So for each one of these projects, I encourage you to go to overwhelm me rather than underwhelm me, to give yourself the opportunity to really offer as much detail as possible. I'm going to read them closely, I'm going to look at them closely, and what I'll try to do is give you as much feedback as possible so that you have good data to work with for your final project. Your final project depends on this. Alright, the second part that I want to say is that we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, and a lot of things are going to happen between now and the final project. So do yourself a favor by recording a lot of details, because things that seem so obvious now that you're sure you'll remember, you will forget even in the course of 3 weeks. So if you see it, if you note it, write it down. Draw it, write it down, record it in some way. Actually, record is a good point. You're more than welcome to use a camera, to use an iPad, or whatever devices you have to create a visual record of the space. What you turn into me is not a video, although if you want to include pictures or any kind of audio-visual material, you're welcome to, but what I will be assessing is the written portion, the written and drawn portion of this section. So you're going to be turning in what I'm calling a map of the place.